What is up, everybody? I'm your legendary commander here, and welcome back to another episode of Ark Survival Evolved. Today, we're going to talk about the most effective weapons against the King Ttan. Now, this should go for all the different King Ttans here, and probably even your regular Titans. These are going to be the most effective weapons and how to deal with it. But particularly, we're not just going to touch on the most effective. We're going to touch on all the other weapons if you try and cheap out maybe, or maybe you try and do this at a lower level. That kind of stuff. We're going to hit all that in this video. Also, everything here will be primitive with only 100% damage stats. So the first category I want to touch on is handheld tech weapons. As you can see here, the tech rifle does about 28 damage per shot, and its DPS is absolutely excellent, making this a fairly effective weapon, but still very ineffective weapon at this level. The tech railgun is actually very ineffective, only doing 112 damage per hit, and with a massive reload time. Each shot takes forever to fire the next round, only doing 112 damage. This is definitely not a weapon you want to use. That's it for the range weaponry on the tech scale. Let's go to some melee weapons. We're going to start with the tech gauntlet and see how much damage it can do when it's fully powered with tech. So at first it only wants to do 10 damage, and then you can see it also does a 31. And it consistently does this for the most part. Sometimes I only get 10, other times I get 31, so it's really not an easy one to manufacture. But you can see I'm getting some basic results here. This is definitely not a method I'd recommend. Another one I'd definitely not recommend is the tech sword. Well, it's cool, and if that's all you got, that's all you got. But it only does 10 damage per hit, and you're likely to get stomped on with this one. Its DPS is a lot better than the gauntlet, but it really doesn't do enough to justify getting up this close. I would sooner run and hope I could get on a dino or something and do a lot more damage. So that really is it for the tech weapons. Let's go ahead and move on to something else, such as, how about artillery pieces? Maybe you want to attack this guy from range and you don't want to get this close to him. Well, let's find out how good that stuff is. So this category is fixed amount of weaponry or artillery pieces, and you can see the cannon only does 86 points of damage. And as you can see also, the structures are taking a lot of damage. So the catapult packs a very good amount of DPS, but low damage, only 42, and this therefore is outpaced by a tech rifle. And while it's better than a cannon, there are a lot of other better toys to use, and we're going to get to that next. The ballista probably packs the best DPS of all the siege weapons. Unfortunately, even this doesn't do that much, only doing about 120 damage. That's 3 times better than a catapult. The catapult out-DPS the cannon, and this out-DPS the catapult. Unfortunately, getting a little more modern does not help. Using the minigun turret, you'll find that the DPS is pretty good, but it actually is probably out-DPS by all the other weapons, only doing 1 damage per shot. So now we start breaking out things like the assault rifle, and unfortunately the assault rifle does 0 damage. Now, remember, these weapons scale, so you could wind up with a pretty good rifle that could do a little bit of damage. That said, it's going to be expensive, and, well, you're better off using a tech rifle instead of using a machine gun. With its terrible DPS, the long neck rifle only manages to make 4 damage per hit. That really doesn't boast well for it. So, shotguns are great against big targets, but not this one, at least not the standard shotgun, only doing 0 damage. It does an excellent job against that pterodon. With an excellent DPS of 65 or lower to around 45 if you're spamming it, the compound bow is probably one of the best as long as you couple it with a metal arrow. Make a good one of these and spam it for absolutely way cheaper than you would like a ballista. Unfortunately, after that great one, here's a letdown. 2 damage with the fabricated sniper rifle. Another really good DPS weapon, but unfortunately only 2 damage. So no matter how good of a rifle you have, you're not going to see much results out of this. Skipping to a fun toy now, we got the rocket launcher. Unfortunately, the rocket launcher only does 30 damage. Not a lot given its low DPS. If you had any thoughts about using grenades, well, they're relatively ineffective, unfortunately. I was unable to get a single grenade to actually make contact with the enemy. A final bit of test is here, the flamethrower. The flamethrower, well, it likes to burn things, so maybe you could have some passive DPS going on while you scorch the thing. Unfortunately, it's hard to actually get a hit, and when it does hit, you only do 0 damage. If you are feeling ballsy, a chainsaw actually does a fair amount of DPS. Get a good one of these and not die, and well, you could really rip this guy apart. Looking for a little more ranged destructiveness, I found the Poison Wyvern does the best job. Running at stamina low though, it only does 181 damage, and it's fairly well leveled, having 700% damage. So I brought out the powerhouse of the family of the dragons, and unfortunately, it can't even make contact with it. So, unfortunately, the most powerful dragon can do nothing to the King Ttan. To add insult to injury, the fire weapon can even do damage to the King Ttan, but unfortunately, it gets so close that it gets beaten to death. A 150 mag with its pistol did about 132 damage, and its sword does about 325. However, the King Ttan here was reducing damage by half, so multiply that number by 2, and that's your true answer. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, the Mega Mag. Well, the Mega Mag is really level dependent, and so I did multiple tests on this guy. At level 1, you better not even fight with the King Ttan, so just don't even try. As you see, one hit did that. It isn't going to last long for you, nor are you doing much damage. You're better off probably shooting with the plasma rifle. So at this point, I brought in a level 10 mech, which unfortunately comes out to level 15. Well, unfortunately, this mech, it does a better job, but it's by no means able to just duke it out with this guy. Maybe with some really good tactics, you can beat the King Ttan with this mech, but you're asking a lot out of this mech. Stepping into about a 150 mech, we actually see some real survivability here. However, this is again not something I would suggest just to run into your opponent and try and duke it out with him, because you will absolutely get destroyed before you destroy him. However, if you can play some clever tactics, stay out of his range, this mech can definitely do the job for you. Overall, using a mech is the best way to get that damage, and probably the cheapest. But if for some reason you decide to use a ballista or a tech rifle, which tech rifle is probably the best alternative option, this is kind of what you're going to see, guys. But alright guys, that is going to be it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all learned something. If you did, hit that like button, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Head on over to Vapetrain's channel and give him a sub too, help him get to 1,000 subs. You all take care, and I'll catch you next time.